What's up, Thrashers, and welcome back once again to the Thrash Maniac 99 YouTube channel, and I am back with yet another album review, and today I am talking about the latest offering from Winterfylleth, the IMPERIOUS Horizon. This also came out on September 13th, this time on Candlelight Records, and this is the band's 8th album overall. And this is a band that I've heard the name come up in black metal circles, particularly that atmospheric black metal sound. And yeah, this is a band from the UK, I think England in particular. And yeah, this is a band that I first heard the name of courtesy of Banger TV when they did an atmospheric black metal episode of Lock Horns. Never got around to checking them out until this new album, and well, I'm going to immediately say, shame on me, because, well, why don't we get into the music? So we kick things off with an opening interlude, intro, whatever, First Light. It's actually beautiful. It's like an ambient violin intro to kind of set the stage for what this album is going to be like in terms of the mood. And then into Like Brimming Fire, immediately you get into blast beats and tremolo melodies that feel perfectly black metal, like the perfect sound for black metal. And the melodies that come up with some of these tremolo riffs, if only like the rhythms were slower and it was in a more triplet pattern, would almost remind me perfectly of a.k.a. And there's a lot of a.k.a. moments that pop up on this album, especially with how somber it gets, because, man, this album, when it comes down to atmosphere, it's kind of sad in some aspects, like especially on this track. But after you get in through some of those melodies, it turns more aggressive, but yet it gets flat out epic at times. And I also really like the lumbering groove that the album kind of goes into, and as well as atmospheric leads. Now, when it comes down to lead work on this album, it's not flashy and there's not a whole lot of leads, but when they pop up, they kind of feel more in line with like David Gilmour leads, where it's all about atmosphere and feeling rather than showing off like, hey, I can shred or I can play as technical as John Petrucci or somebody like that. No, it's more about feeling, mood, atmosphere, that kind of stuff. Then we get into Dishonor Enthroned. This one of the couple of tracks on this album where it's in triplet form, like the patterns are in triplets. And this one kind of felt like an amalgamation of Emperor, a.k.a. and Mayhem, because there's a triplet chug section on here that feels like it could have been lifted from the song Life Eternal by Mayhem. But with the epicness and the beauty of it, definitely gives me a lot of Emperor nods, as well as that a.k.a. melody going on. And even at the very end, you get these like beautiful chants by all the members doing vocal rounds. Like, it was a very powerful end to another fantastic track. And this was actually the one song on the album that actually had a music video. Then we get into Upon the Shore, and this one kind of starts off similar to Like Brimming Fire. It's blasty, it's tremolo riddled, but it feels closer to Enslaved rather than a.k.a. And there's also some enslaved moments that pop up here and there on this album as well. And with this track, as well as the title track that follows, there's double time stomps that almost give it a bolt thrower vibe. It's almost like bolt thrower meets black metal, which is actually a really cool combination, and Winterfylleth actually do a pretty good job mixing both of those sounds together. But I also really like how in Upon the Shore, it will slow down, bring the mood down a little bit, and build up using the drums, and then finish off with a lumbering groove. Then the title track, like I said, you get that bolt thrower double time stomp, but the opening blasts and tremolos that show up feel closer to melodic death metal than black metal. Like, the tremolos are a little more on the low end rather than the high end. Like, best way to determine the difference between a black metal tremolo and a death metal tremolo is that black metal tremolos tend to be a lot more on the high end of the guitar. The death metal tremolos or mellow death tremolos get a little more on the low end, or right in the middle. And this kind of felt like in between low end and middle, and I would honestly say they kind of reminded me of Hypocrisy a little bit. And then I love how it gets doomy, and a lot of the doom nods come from that Agalloch influence I hear on this album. I'm going to save the next track for last, but then we get into To the Edge of Tyranny, which one of the shorter tracks of the album, under 4 minutes, and this one kind of goes all over the map. Blasts, melodeath tremolos, there's even some classic heavy metal nods with some of the riffs and rhythms, but then you get riffs and rhythms that remind me of Dissection a little bit, and some D beats. So it was like, for 4 minutes, they packed a lot in this song. Earthen Sorrows, this was more of an interlude, but it was another beautiful one, violins and acoustic guitars, and it's very sad sounding. And then you get into the closing track, well, at least of the songs before he gets to 2 bonus tracks, The Insurrection. This is the other one that's in triplet pattern, like you get some nice triplet chugs, aggressive tremolos, again bringing back that enslaved vibe. And dare I say, this song gets a little more sinister, a little darker overall, and there's even some dissonance that comes in, and groove. Like, again, bringing in nuance to this song by incorporating groove and dissonance and darker, sinister tones on top. But then there's another track that comes after this, and it was a cover of Emperor's The Majesty of the Night Sky off of In the Nightside Eclipse, and they nail that cover. I think that's actually a very good cover. But then there's one more song that I didn't talk about that was earlier in the album, but then on a bonus track, it's a minute longer, In Silent Grace. This one starts off with like clean melodies and a lead melody, and for the most part, it's like straight up doom. Like, it's a doomy song, and it features guest vocals from Alan from Primordial. And he does a great job, and on the less than 11-minute version, it's like the ending is cut short a little bit, like it doesn't drag, but the main frontman, I forget his name, he's the one doing the bulk of the vocals while Alan's doing like a verse or two on here. But I love the harmonized lead on this track, as well as some other leads that pop up. But the closing track, which is In Silent Grace again, but it's 1 minute longer, and Alan's doing the vocals the entire time, and it's amazing. Like, both versions of this song is incredible. Hard for me to choose which one I like better. I guess I like the longer version because I do like the extra stuff they put on top, and also Alan getting to do the entire song in terms of vocals. So yeah, fantastic song to an otherwise fantastic album. Really, I don't have anything to complain about. The production on this album was perfectly balanced, great recording. Musically, yeah, you might run into some similarities with some of these tremolos and blasts, but with atmospheric black metal, it's meant to kind of be an all-encompassing thing, and doesn't feel like a collection of songs. It feels like every song is connected through stories about ancient Britain history and literature and stuff. So I am going to make the bold claim this might be another one of the best black metal albums I've heard this year. I am going to give this a 4.5 out of 5. This was fantastic. I mean, it's somber, but it's got plenty of aggression to it, plenty of atmosphere. Basically, I'm not the world's biggest atmospheric black metal fan, but this is a band that knows how to do it right. 4.5 out of 5. But of course, those are just my opinions. What did you guys think? Let me know in the comments below. Don't forget to like, comment, share, subscribe, all that fun stuff. Thank you for watching. Keep your horns high and your dreams wet.
Thank you for your patronage.